a moment, there it goes, as the refineries are all that is left. Siege tanks now making their way over, but they are not in siege mode. The Roaches still doing a lot of damage. One Thor may get taken down as it's getting to get focused down really quickly, and the Roaches are still pressing here inside the base.
One thing I want to note is that this Roach push was not a mistake at all. He needed to actually free his supply. So this is a brilliant play by the Zerg.
Yeah, really.
You don't ever want to be like full supply on Roaches. It's not cost supply efficient at all. Broodlords are actually only 4 supplies, so they're very supply efficient.
Yeah, very
expensive.
Yeah, very cost effective here, as we are now seeing 3 command centers trying to be built. It looks like the Roaches are still doing this push across the center. MLG unable to really replenish his forces. There are a lot of Thors now being added. Hellions making their way over as the Roaches are trying to back off. There are more mules now being called down, trying to mine away. He wants to keep this base up and running, but the orbital command down to 200 hit points, down to 100. It lifts off just in time, but the mules now being called over to repair instead.
I have a question. What do you think of him taking the gold with the orbital instead of the planetary fortress? Do you think it would have made a difference?
I think it would have made a really big difference. The planetary fortress has a range of 6. It deals 40 damage every shot. It has splash damage, and the additional +3 armor itself would have made a very big difference as well. So we'll see what's going to happen as now Broodlords are making their way in at the 20-minute mark of the game. There are Vikings, though, and there's nothing to really counter the Vikings. Corruptors need to be added. These 2 Vikings, however, don't really have the right amount of DPS to take down all the Broodlords. They are going to force a slight retreat, but Corruptors are now finally coming over, perhaps to lend a hand, as the Corruptors going toe-to-toe with the Vikings, but there are simply 4 Vikings in the air now. Roaches suiciding themselves, as Mystik knows that he cannot pull back with these Broodlords unless he loses them all.
At that point, he should have just turned around and attacked with them.
Yeah, at that point, you want to just really try to trade damage. If you know your units are going to die, leave them there. The Vikings would be out of position. The Thors wouldn't be as so far forward, and you can try to regroup a little bit more. And we'll see what Mystik does. Right now, Mystik is only sitting on almost zero resources and about 200 food. Meanwhile, MLG is sitting about 1,800. He really needs to crank up perhaps his Hellions, as he is going heavy mech, and now Hellions are just running around, as we also see another base down over here at this 5 o'clock starting location.
One thing I have to know, he has 94 drones out. So we have a little Ret player. He actually had 99, but since he's losing drones, it's huge.
Yeah, this is going to be really bad here. The Hellions could turn around and just take down all of those drones, but I don't think MLG is actually paying attention. Taking down Roaches instead of taking down Infestors. They're all lined up together. And is it going to work? Is it going to work? Oh!
No, Hellion dancing.
And one Hellion dancing, not even dealing damage, and it looks like Mystik saving himself about 15 drones, as there are now Roaches running around inside his base.
But he did go from 99 to now 76 drones, so that's a big difference. But at this point, I'm not sure if it really did anything. I don't know how Terran's is going to come back. Yeah, the Zerglings are just running rabid inside the base. You can see command centers trying to be built. The factories are now just getting all taken down. Level 2 armor upgrade most likely will not complete, as the Thors are just dancing around, unable to make it up that ramp. Thors being so slow. Thors, in order to counter those fast-moving Roaches, even though they do have high DPS and have a lot of hit points, not going to be enough. 3-1 Thors losing to this massive Zerg army, as now we see a planetary fortress. While there was that battle, there was also a lot of infested Terran taking the gold, so that was really nice. All the SCVs are dead here. Planetary fortress not going to do anything. And nice fungal right there.
Yeah, so nice fungal growth followed by infested Terrans. The infested Terrans should start shooting down those Vikings, but the planetary fortress will clean up all of those infested Terrans, as well as the Corruptors and Broodlords are now making their way into the planetary fortress. Food count 174 versus 96. MLG doing a valiant effort, but he may not be able to hold off all of these Broodlords, as they are upgraded 1-1 against 0-0 anti-air.
I really think if he just made that planetary fortress at the gold, he would have been able to hold it, especially with having that big... their army was about the same at one point. And then when you have a mech army of that, when it's that strong, it's really hard for Zerg to press against, especially when you're all set up. So I think his choice in taking that 4th command center as a CC at the gold was a bit too greedy. Personally, I always take my 3rd as an orbital. I don't like it when Terrans make their 3rd into a PF. You can defend it if you macro well enough, but 4th as an orbital is really pushing it.
Yeah, really pushing it, especially at a position like that, where it's in the center of the map. Even when you mine out of that position, you are still you still want to control that location. It's one of the 3 main ways that you can get across the map, and if they have to deal with that giant